This is Shopify Masters, the e-commerce marketing podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs. It's powered by Shopify, the easiest way to sell online, in person, and anywhere in between. To get an extended 30-day trial, visit shopify.com/masters. Hey entrepreneurs, my name is Felix and I'm the host of the Shopify Masters podcast. Each week we put out podcast interviews with successful e-commerce entrepreneurs or experts to give you inspiration, motivation, and actionable tips to increase your traffic and sales so your store can generate the sales you need to live the life you want. In the last episode, Jeff Cayley from worldwidecyclery.com explains how he chooses which products goes on which sales channels. On today's episode, you'll learn the step-by-step process this entrepreneur took to test and then launch a six-figure business through Facebook ads. In this episode, you'll learn how to test if the market is passionate before you enter it, what to do when your Facebook ad has high engagement but no sales, and Facebook ads targeting tips to find more passionate customers. Today, I'm joined by Kweku Nornu from thepassionatepug.com. That's ThePassionatepug.com. As you can guess, The Passionate Pug sells awesome pug merchandise. Was started last year in 2016 and based out of Washington, D.C. Welcome, Kweku.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. So tell us a little bit more about this store and what was like the idea behind starting a business like this?
Awesome. So I first started off in Teespring about late 2015. I was told about Teespring and how, people are just making designs on their own and listing it and also selling it on Facebook. And at that point, I was dabbling in a little bit of design work. And so I listed a few items and they didn't sell very well. I was trying different niches and I saw a pug and I was like, wow, this dog is pretty popular on the internet. Everybody was sharing it, the post. And so I went and found a cool scarf that I was browsing around on AliExpress and I found a cool scarf. And I went and listed it. I didn't really think much of it. I'm like, oh, who wears a pug scarf, whatever. I put it on there, and about 12 days after I had listed it, I had sold about 400 scarves.
Wow.
And after that, I was like, wow, people really love this dog. So after that, having a design background, I started doing some basic pug designs, and they just started taking off. And after that, I was like, why not go ahead and continue with this and just focus on just selling nothing but pug merchandise.
Cool. So you saw that there was a lot of passion, I guess. Funny, that's the name of your your story. So there was a lot of passion for this type of dog breed all over Facebook. So you went on AliExpress and you found a scarf. And now, were you selling on your own Shopify site at that time, or were you selling into a marketplace? Like, how were you getting the actual sales?
So at that time, right before that, me and a friend had started a store together, but he lost focus, and we were just testing random items. And, I just wanted to test the scarf because it was one of the things that we had listed, but we had never tested. And before that, we were testing things in different dog breeds, and they weren't really, as viral going as this pug scarf.
Okay, so one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on this podcast, I actually had reached out to the Shopify community at large, was I wanted to understand the process that store owners go through when they are trying to test out products, like exactly what you went through. So I'm assuming this wasn't the first product that you ever picked. Did you have to go through a lot of, failures, essentially, failed products along the way?
Oh, man. Yeah, I wouldn't begin to tell you how many failures I had. I had so many failures. I think one of my biggest failures was I was trying to advertise a T-shirt to guys that, go off-road. And it was such a terrible design. And I put it on Facebook and I got no response and a lot of hate. And at that point, I kind of felt like, oh, man, is this even what I want to do? Mm-hmm. Should I continue going? Because at that point, it was kind of overbearing. I had lost a lot of money just testing out different designs.
Why do you think that those previous products that ended up failed in this niche of pug merchandise became such a success for you so quickly?
I think mostly it became attributed to just passion behind the product. I didn't really put too much effort into the designs I was putting out there. I was just kind of going based off, a gut feeling. And, gut feelings really never dictate a good market value. So when I just started to actually look for passion products and products that I could see people wearing every day and actually, trying to put out their passion out to the world, it's a lot easier to sell products that way. So products basically that allows people to see directly what the person is interested in.
So, but these off-roading shirts, wouldn't there be a community of people that are into off-roading just as passionately as their dogs, or did you find that it wasn't as passionate?
There was passion, but that particular brand that I was going after Toyota 4Runner off-roaders, because at that time I had a Toyota 4Runner. And I thought there was a community for them with the shirts, but the shirt design just did not resonate with them at all. And after the first design failure, I kind of felt bummed out, and I was like, let me just go look for a different niche.
Okay, so there might have been passion in that particular niche. It's just that maybe the designs weren't good enough to catch the attention or get those sales. Do you find that is the not necessarily the case, but like, how do you differentiate between a failure because of design versus a failure because of a just not enough passion in that particular niche?
Okay, so even now, I still have a lot of failures with my T-shirts and my Pug T-shirts. It's just a lot of testing. You never know what people would like. Just testing a lot of different designs and trying to hit different markets. So one thing I was doing is that one thing I saw a lot of failures is like when you try to go after the broad market, you don't have a lot of passion behind it. Somebody saying passionate pug mom that lives in Oklahoma. Some people can really get behind that and really say, wow, that's really targeted towards me, rather than saying, just a passionate pug mom. So designs like that I found that are really beneficial and really target the audience I'm looking for. And those people are very passionate.
Yeah, because you're not just going after pug lovers. Like, I'm looking at your site, and you have this called Pugs Doing Yoga. So you're looking at people that are into yoga, I'm assuming, or into some kind of fitness, and also into pugs. So you're like layering on all of these different passions on top of each other to get really narrow. I think one of the concerns that especially a new store owner might have is that they want to be as broad as possible, because in a lot of people's minds, the broader you are, the more potential customers there are. More potential customers, the more likelihood for success, or more likelihood for more sales and revenue. But you're saying that approach just didn't work for you at all. Can you talk about that? Like, why go, I guess, more narrow versus trying to hit as many potential customers as possible?
Yeah. So what I saw with the going broad is that when you don't really have stability in the market or don't have a brand name in the market, it's very hard for people to trust you right away, especially if you're a newcomer. What I've seen a lot of Facebook ads, especially when I first started, was that, hey, has anybody ordered from this site? Has anybody purchased? Is this a reliable company to purchase from? And people are very skeptical. But once you really hit on that passion of what they love, some people are willing to take a leap of faith, and those are people that you really need to bring to your company to really jumpstart, because they become brand ambassadors and they really speak about your brand, especially online.
So does that mean that the game plan is to start with a very narrow niche, and then as you build that credibility, build that customer base, build those brand advocates that you're talking about, then once you have that kind of I guess place in the marketplace, then expand from there? Is that the game plan?
Yeah, that's exactly what the game plan is, and I found out that works a lot for me, because with Facebook nowadays, it's pretty simple. I want to say simple, but it's a lot easier to target multiple layers and multiple passions in one targeting, and especially if you have the design that resonates, people are really get excited.
Okay, so this is probably a very not broad, but a maybe ignorant approach. But let's say you're doing this Pugs Doing Yoga hoodie that you have for sale. You're probably looking at targeting people that are into pugs, but also that do yoga. In that particular match, you're able to start generating some customers that way, and then that's how you build your very first brand advocates. Is that like the idea behind the approach?
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Now, you mentioned that you had a lot of testing going on, right? You had to test the product, you had to test the marketplace. I think the where a lot of people might stumble is that there are just so many variables involved, so many things you can test, so many things that if you did a certain way would be a success, did a certain way would be a failure. How do you manage all of that and make sure that you're approaching it in a way that gets you, I guess, the right results from the test, and not screw up your I guess the variables that are involved in a test when you're trying to test not just the product but also the market?
Exactly. So you have to think about what type of marketing channel you're using. I mostly use Facebook right now, and Facebook has been a huge revenue driver for me. And you have to understand that people on Facebook aren't necessarily there to shop. They're there to see things that they like and things that they enjoy. So my goal when I'm testing is to try to make the product go as viral as possible in the little amount of spend as possible.
Okay, so go as viral as possible. Give us some ideas on how you do that. Is it just the content that you're putting out there, or what are you doing to make sure that you are getting as much exposure as possible?
So what I like to do is, especially if I'm testing a new niche or something like that, I test with finding a meme that's pretty funny, that's already going viral, and just recreating that with my own words. And within that meme, I like to send it to the target audience I'm looking for and see how many shares I can get. And based on the amount of shares, you can tell that the niche is a pretty viral niche, or the people within that niche are very social. And with that, I recreate a design based on similar to that meme. So let's say I did a pug doing the yoga. What happened was I had found a video of a pug stretching and doing yoga, and people found it hilarious. And when I did that, I was like, wow, this actually can have some kind of traction. So me and my designer came up with an idea of pugs doing various yoga poses. And when I did that, I put various yoga poses on a design, and I sent it to the same audience that I had tested with before I had launched the product itself. And I sent to the exact same audience, and it just started spreading like wildfire, and people just loved it.
Okay, so you first tested if the market was passionate enough, that was viral, that was social first. You didn't have a product at all yet, or at least for this particular design. You didn't have the design at all yet. You just wanted to see if the market was viral, was social. You established that because of the engagement on that particular post. Can you give us an idea of the numbers behind that? Like what was the threshold that you're looking for to determine that this was a good market to enter?
Awesome. So on Facebook, you have what you call a page post engagement ad, or a page post engagement. And that's when you just post a picture. It's a large square picture, 1200 by 1200, and you post it. And it's a very big picture. It shows up really clearly on the news feeds. And what I look for within the first $25 to $30 of ad spend, if I can get at least 200 to 300 shares. Because the more people that share the post, the more free traffic and the free engagement you get.
Okay, so when you have these shares, are you, in this post, are you driving the traffic anywhere, or are you just keeping all of the engagement on the post and just strictly to understand if there's a market or not? You're not, or are you trying to drive those engagements, those people that are looking at that post to a landing page?
So in the first $20 to $30, like I said, I don't put any links, because Facebook limits the reach of links when you put it in the post when you first start off. So I don't put any links, and just try to make it spread just like a regular picture. Some pictures are on Facebook. They spread very virally, and they don't have any links or any call to actions at all. So then when I see that it starts to spread, I will go in the comment. And when you're the page admin, your comment usually shows up first if you post it in the comment section. And, people would post, hey, where can I get this? And then within that post itself, I would put in a link like, hey, get it here. And I will like it so that it shows up at the top of all the comments. And after that, I will see if I can continue to get the engagement I was getting before. And after that goes on for like about 2 to 3 days, which is I usually spend anywhere between $20 to $30 a day just for that post. And after 2 to 3 days, which is about $60, I will go back into the original post and edit it and put the actual link to the store.
Okay, I see. So you're first posting this engagement focused post and targeting the particular demographic that you're going after. You spend about $60 after a few days, and then you go back in and put the link to the landing page. Now, at that time, did you have a Pugs in this example? Did you have a Pugs Doing Yoga hoodie already designed within those few days, or were you just driving them to your main site that had other products that were related to pugs, but not specifically Pugs Doing Yoga?
I just had it with the products itself, not necessarily Pugs Doing Yoga. I just had I had a sample design. So what I put in the description is like, hey, do you find this funny? Tag and share with people that will find this funny. And that was just the call to action in the description of the post before I put the link. And after a few days have passed by, I went back, edited it, and then I sent them to the Passionate Pug website.
Okay. One thing that I've been seeing a lot on Facebook with, especially with I guess new entrepreneurs that are taking, I guess, a very similar approach to you by measuring the engagement of a community and measuring the engagement of a, I guess, a demographic that they're targeting through Facebook, is that they'll get a lot of engagement, a lot of likes, a lot of shares, but then when they, I guess, launch the product and maybe even target that same audience, or maybe do what you're saying to add it as a comment, a link to that landing page, a link to the product page itself, they just don't generate the same kind of, I guess, sales that you would expect based on the engagement. Have you experienced this? Have you seen this happen? Like, what's your, I guess, your thoughts on why that does happen?
Okay, so I have seen that actually, and sometimes my thought process is like, this got a whole bunch of engagement, got a whole bunch of comments, positive comments. Why is it not selling? So then what I like to do is I like to go within the comments itself and just message some of the people that say, I want this or I will wear this. And I'll ask them because, Facebook is a social place. I talk to them as a friend and I go, wait, I'm like, hey, you commented on our post. You seem to love it. Is there any reason that you wouldn't want to wear this or purchase this, today? And from there, I would get a response. Oh, maybe, the price is too high, or maybe they would like it in a different color. And I use those comments and feedback, and I go and tweak the store or tweak the product, and I give them a 25 to 30% discount code, and usually that converts into a customer.
Oh, wow. So can you give an example of this happening? Or does this happen with any of the products that, or I guess you are telling me about a product that this happened for. Can you give us an example of some feedback that you got from private messaging Facebook users and that actually impacted the design or impacted the sales price?
Yeah, so I had launched a mug that had a fawn colored plug on it. If you're familiar with plugs, the fawn colored plug is the brown one. Mm-hmm. And when I first launched it had got a huge amount of response. But then in some of the comments, people were saying, "Hey, is there one for black plugs?" And I was like, "Hey, I don't have a black plug design at all." So I messaged them. I was like, "Would you be interested in buying this mug if it had a black plug on it?" And she was like, "Absolutely. I have a black plug, and it's very hard to find black plug products." So that turned on a light bulb in my head, and I was like, "Wow, there's a huge market within a market of passionate plug fans that would love products based on around the black plug." So I went to my designer, and we quickly came up with a mock-up for a black plug, and that's been one of our top sellers so far.
Oh, wow. Okay, awesome. So when you are sending, I guess once you have measured this engagement, measured that it's a passionate audience, are you creating a brand new ad after that as well? That is, once you have the product design, are you creating a brand new ad after that and then targeting that same demographic again? Or are you only editing the initial engagement post?
So what I like to do is after I find a good engagement, especially with photos, I like to create a video, either a video slideshow or if I can get the product itself, just create a short 5-second to 30-second video just showcasing the product. Nothing too fancy. People really don't like fancy. I've noticed that when you get all fancy with the products, they like to have that like that kind of friend feeling of when you show off a product. So I like to hit people from all different angles. So after I see the photo going viral, I'll just make a quick slideshow showing different angles of the mug, targeting the exact same audience, and with the link in the description this time, because I know that this has potential to actually build a lot of sales.
Okay, so this I guess the secondary ad that you create, are you doing some kind of retargeting based on people that engage with the initial post, or are you just layering on the same exact targeting that you used? Do you care that to go after people that engaged with it originally?
Oh, I love retargeting. Retargeting is one of our strongest sales drivers. So what I like to do is retarget people that have visited the page itself, our brand page, and also like to retarget people that have visited certain collections. So let's say I'm coming out with a new collection of mugs designs. What I like to do is retarget those people that have landed on a mug collection page or a mug page itself. And not necessarily people that have purchased, there's people that just visited and viewed the content. And I'll just put them into an audience themselves, and I will throw in, a discount like, hey, you checked out our mugs before. I'm sure you found something that you would love. Here's another mug design that I think you would also love. And just throw a call to action with a discount link in there.
Okay. Do you do any, I guess that makes sense for people that visited your page. That makes total sense to remarket to them. Are you remarketing to people that engage with that initial post as well? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to go in there myself and actually message some of the people that, because some people just say they would just tag a friend, or they would just say I need this now, or I love this, and I'll just send them a private message and say, hey, we would love to have you as a brand ambassador or as a customer, and here's how you can get started, and I'll just send them a link to our store with the product.
Cool. Okay. Now, when you are actually running ads to a product that you've already validated that there's a lot of passion in the industry, you already determined that it's going to be a very popular product because it's already been successful through virality. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of how do you set up your targeting inside the ads itself when no one really has visited your store yet. Maybe when you first started out, no one's visited your store much yet at all because you didn't have a product yet. Now you have the product in your hands and you're ready to start advertising to people. Can't really remarket yet because no one's visited the product page yet. Are you just going with the same targeting settings that you had set up previously with the initial engagement focused ad?
No, so that's a great question. So I like to do that as well, but I also like to think outside the box. When I'm first targeting and I really don't have any clue, I like to plug in the niche onto Google and type in the word association or forums or magazines behind that keyword. So for example, I'll plug in, pug magazines or pug forums or pug websites. And Google will just return me a list of things that, or a list of destinations where I think the audience will hang out. And I'll see if I can plug that into Audience Insights, which is a Facebook tool. It's a free tool on Facebook that lets you see if those pages are targetable.
Okay, so if they're targetable, then you target those people that have expressed interest in those associations, forums, magazines, websites, and that works pretty well for you, I'm assuming?
Exactly. And also very popular within the dog niche, this is like a golden tip, is rescue networks. The rescue interests work very well because people that are interested in dog rescues are very, very passionate.
So now I think when someone starts off with Facebook advertising for the first time, and let's say that they are also selling pug merchandise, they might just go in and say, why target these associations where they're kind of obviously, it's related to that particular passion that they have with dogs or with pugs, but why not just target pug lovers, for example? Just go direct to the source. Like, what's the issue with doing that?
Because you don't really know how some of these pages are built. You might not know if the marketer that had built let's say a pug lovers page, it might have just a bunch of pictures of cute pugs, and the audience might be, younger women or just younger kids that really don't have the money or the desire to purchase the product. But once you target some of these associations and these magazines, these are buyers of the product. These are buyers of the niche.
I see, because it's easy to like a page that says pug lovers, but you have to be much more deeper, much more passionate about that particular niche to actually like or be interested in an association or a magazine around it.
Exactly.
It expresses a lot more intent and interest too. That makes sense. Now, when you're testing all these, I think it sounds like the name of the game for you is to be able to iterate through a lot of testing different products, and you landed on a winner here with the passionate pug. Talk to us about your setup. Like, how do you get if someone doesn't have an idea yet for a product or a niche to go after, how can they set up? Well, I guess what's your system? How do you set it up in a way that allows you to go through these cycles of testing as quickly as possible?
Gotcha. So I usually have my designer go on Pinterest and just take a look at some of the stuff that's trending around the niche. Pinterest is very, very great for niche research. You just plug in the niche name in the search bar and either plug in, the niche name plus clothing or apparel or gifts. And a bunch of different ideas show up in the Pinterest feed, and you can get a lot of different ideas on what to test and see what's hot, because Pinterest has that repin tool, and just based on the amount of repins, you can kind of tell, if this is something that people that are within that niche are really interested in. And then from there, I get my designer to recreate something that he believes would be similar to what that image is or what that is. And after he designs that, he puts it in a folder. We use Dropbox a lot. And what he does is I give him like a week's worth of images that I go through and find. And I'm like, hey, could you redesign some of these images with our own flair, with our own brand name and our brand voice? And from there, I literally just go in, grab the image after he's done uploading it to our store with the mock-ups, and I go on Facebook and I literally use the same targeting that I've been using from the beginning to just test over and over again because I know that that audience is really resonates with our brand, and it's not as cold as we were before when we first got into the market. So people are more familiar with the brand.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Now, what about? So that sounds like it's working well for your this passion pug essentially because you already have this built-in brand familiarity from people that are seeing it over and over again. You already have the targeting pretty narrowed down. You already have an idea of what's popular in this space. What about the process that you were going through prior to landing on the passionate pug when you were trying to go after different niches, trying to match it with different products? What was your system like then to go through the testing to make sure that you had a market that was viable?
Gotcha. I even to this day, I'm exploring some new niches to, to go ahead and build my, I guess, e-com empire with small niches. And we do the same thing. So when we go in, we go through, we use various sources like AliExpress, eBay, Amazon, and we just kind of see, what type of reviews certain products are getting within niches we're interested in getting into. So some of the newest niches I'm exploring is the hunting and fishing niche. And so what I do, I would just go on Amazon or eBay and just type in hunting and hunting or fishing and see what type of products are getting a lot of reviews. What I'd like to see is that if a product's getting a lot of reviews, that means that there's a market for it and people are interested in or want the product. And so I would just go ahead and click into the reviews and see what some of the pain points people are coming up with, and seeing if some of the words that they are using within the niche, like the niche language, can be targeted on Facebook. And I like to go after new niches like that.
Okay, cool. Now, do you set up a brand new Shopify site each time you go after a niche? You set up a brand new Facebook page. Like, what's the actual, I guess, logistics of getting a product or a site or a brand up?
Gotcha. So what I do is I just create new Facebook pages because setting up a new Shopify site is kind of intensive, especially if you want people to trust you right off the bat when they land on your page. And creating a Facebook page takes just a few minutes. I create a new Facebook page and I literally find the product that I'm interested in promoting or selling, and I'll just post it up to the page. And it will be an empty fan page, and I'll just post a picture of the product with a small call to action saying, "Hey, would you be interested in buying this product? Share and tag a friend." And I'll just go ahead and run a PPE engagement ad with that and see what type of comments or what type of feedback I get.
So it's okay in your experience that the Facebook page is brand new, doesn't have any followers right off the bat, doesn't have that much content on it. Do people care about that?
So what I've noticed about Facebook, especially nowadays, is that most people don't leave their newsfeed. They just kind of keep scrolling through their newsfeed until something catches their eye, and then they stop. And most people I've talked to, and even close friends, they rarely click on the page unless they're super interested in seeing what the page has to offer. And even then, they're really not skeptical because new pages come up all the time. And what I like to do sometimes is, if I really want to dive into that niche, is I'll post a few memes and other content articles within that page just to give it some population and give it a little bit more trustworthiness.
I think that's a great observation that people don't really leave their news feed, and this is just anecdotal, but I'm the same way. I'll scroll through, I see interesting products, but I never click through to see what's going on that page. Because for the longest time, a lot of people were saying that you need to build up a social media presence because you need to build trust through there. I find for myself that I barely ever go to social media anymore to, quote unquote, make sure that this particular store, this particular brand is legitimate just by looking at their follower numbers. So that makes a lot of sense that you don't need to focus on that, because if someone does click on your page, they are probably very interested in the product. They're probably not clicking to it to validate because they're skeptical. They're probably not clicking through to see if this is a legitimate company. They're probably clicking through because they want to hear more, they want to learn more, they want to see more of that particular content. Those people are already probably going to buy regardless of what they see on your page anyway.
Exactly.
Cool. So what's been the turnaround time for this process for you when you go through? I kind of going through all this again. You go on these different marketplaces, AliExpress, on eBay, and you look at reviews, see what's being reviewed a lot, to see what's popular on those markets. Now, I think I guess the skeptic would say, if it's already selling well on these sites, on these marketplaces, why would they buy from you? Why would they buy from someone that bought from this essentially same supplier and sell it through their own Shopify site? Like, why? I guess what would you say to someone that says something like that?
So what I kind of deal with that, because I do get that a lot from people that I help out on the side and people that are starting off, is that one thing that we do have an advantage of above all these marketplaces is that we're first to market. Some of these products, people aren't necessarily going to eBay to search for a niche product unless it's a gift, or they're really intent on finding this product. So usually we're usually the first ones to even get to the market by showing this in their newsfeed. And some of these people have never even seen some of these products before. And that's usually our first golden nugget right there, is that, showing these products first before they can actually search on Amazon or eBay or AliExpress. It gives us a head start to the market.
Okay, makes sense. Now, I think one of the cool things I've seen about your site is that, and you mentioned this earlier about reaching out to people that have liked or that have tagged their friends in it to ask them if they want to be brand ambassadors. Tell us a little bit about this. Like, what is your brand ambassador program like? We'll start there. What is your brand ambassador program like?
Okay, so we're still building that out, and we're just vetting different things right now. But what really works that we've seen so far is using Instagram pages. Instagram pages have a lot of, especially now, they have a lot more reach than Facebook pages. And people on Instagram, love to share pictures of their dog, love to share pictures of different products they purchase, especially with hashtags. So what we do is we reached out to Instagram pages that have at least 50 to 100,000 followers, and we used to give them a link to our product and say, hey, this is a new product that we're selling. It's selling about 15 to 20 units a day, and it'll be an awesome fit for your audience. Would you be interested in promoting this product to your audience for a small commission fee? And some people will happily love to do that, because some people that are running these pages aren't necessarily monetizing them. So for any opportunity for them to monetize, they would gladly jump on.
I see. Okay, so you're looking for people that have Instagram profiles of 50,000 to 100,000 followers?
Mm-hmm.
So when you reach out to them, what's because I've seen a lot of influencer marketing strategies where people will reach out and say, hey, can I send you a free product? But don't really stipulate that a promotion behind it. What are your thoughts on that approach? Kind of almost like a very soft sell into an influencer, a brand ambassador program versus yours, where it's like, right off the bat that there's some kind of commission, something in it for them monetarily. Have you tried both, approaches?
Yeah, I have. And the thing about Instagram is that sometimes these pages are being run by, little kids that really don't really care about, monetizing it. They just want to share their passion for whatever it is. And it gets kind of tricky with that because, I don't really like to do business with kids under, a certain age. Sure. Because I don't think that's legal in even certain areas to promote like that. So, I like to vet them out and ask them if they have done promotions before. And some of these larger pages, a lot of people are actually reaching out to them to do promotions. So they're familiar with the promotion structure and the schedule. And it just kind of works out sometimes for us.
Very cool. Okay, so what's usually the deal behind that? Do you have some kind of stipulation that they post, include a link in their bio, or post the X number of posts about your products? Like, what's usually the structure of the deal? Gotcha.
I actually have a funny story about that. So a while ago, I had reached out to an influencer who had a good amount of followers, and I said, hey, I'm gonna send you a free mug to promote to your followers. And she was like, awesome. So I sent her all the information, including the Bitly link. But what she had done was that she had actually clicked the Bitly link and grabbed the full URL and posted it to her bio. And I took a look at it. I was like, wow, this is a mess. Nobody would click this. And that influencer actually did not pan out for me at all. So, but what I like to try to get them to do is, post one or two pictures on their timeline, and also change their bio for up to 48 hours. And some people actually agree to those stipulations.
And do you find that the cost of, are you giving them some kind of flat rate plus a commission usually, or what's the financials behind? You don't have to go into too much details if you don't want to, but how much do you expect to spend if you're looking to target a influencer that has 50,000 to 100,000 followers?
Okay, so I mean, it depends on their engagement. If I see that the page has a lot of engagement, I like to just stick with just a commission base, like 15 to 20% of sales, because at that point I'm more interested in capturing the customer and talking to them after the sale via email marketing. So with that, I would just give them 15 to 20% on the front end and just let them generate sales how they feel comfortable with. Usually they come back after the first promotion period. They tell me like, hey, I'd like to continue to work with you. Could I just keep the link up? And I'm like, that's fine with me. The link is cookie for 30 days and they can generate sales even long after they have posted a picture. But if they have low engagement, I like to start with them with like between 20 to $50. And some people are usually really receptive to that.
Oh, wow. So it's a very economical approach to reaching a lot of people. You don't have to spend too much money at all. I think
Exactly.
a lot of times you blow through that kind of budget in a day on Facebook and get maybe just a couple of sales. So I think your approach makes a lot of sense. And I like how you're also saying that you're not trying to make a killing. You're not trying to make a crazy profit on these influencers right off the bat. You're trying to just get them into your database. Essentially, you're trying to get them into your funnel, and then you will continue to follow up with them through email marketing because you have so many. So you're not just selling one product; you're selling multiple. Hoodies, mugs, phone cases, bags. You're selling a lot of different things. So tell us a little bit more about what happens in your funnel. You mentioned email marketing. Is there anything else that happens once someone becomes a customer for the first time?
Yeah. So after they become a customer for the first time, we actually tried a promotion where if you were to share our page or share a product or share a review, you actually start to earn points, and they were called Patch Their Pug points. And people love that. I use an app called Sweet Tooth, and they basically track all the points for me after you create an account. And based on the various activities you do on the site, such as liking a post or sharing a link or purchasing a certain amount of products, you actually accumulate points that you can spend on other products. And what I found about really niche stores is that your amount of customers that you have available to purchase from you is very limited. So you have to give them a wide selection for them to come back.
Okay. So what are you sending to them in email? Are you just promoting new products, or are you writing other kind of content for them?
Okay. So our first email is a welcome email. And that's right after an order has been placed. You can get an email saying, oh, hey, thanks for joining our community. We have a private Facebook group and a private Facebook page that you can come and interact with other pug owners and share pictures and talk about other pug things that you might be so inclined to talk about in our private Facebook group. And I give them a link to that. I also give them a link to our main Facebook page as well as our Instagram page. And I also give them a small blurb about how long the shipping times are going to be for certain products and when they could expect the product. And then after that email has been sent out, I have a review email that goes out about 14 days after they have ordered, asking them to leave a review about their experience from ordering with us, and that has really helped us tremendously with sales in the future.
Mm-hmm. Now, the private Facebook group, I like this because you're now not just communicating one-on-one with these customers. You are creating community, and you're letting them communicate with each other, and that just builds value on top of it without you having to be the sole provider of the value. You're letting the community provide as well. What's that been like? How's the process? What's it like to run a private Facebook group?
It's pretty awesome. This group, actually, I don't really moderate that much. The only time I moderate is when I see people posting links to their own products, and I like to have people respect the group and not post too many product links because people actually get turned off because they don't really want to get sold there in a private Facebook group. They just want to share information about their pug and maybe if their pug is having they had an injury or they had a surgery and they want to share a picture or share their experience with other pug owners about how it's going for them. And it's kind of self-moderated. I don't really do too much work in the private Facebook group. Everybody kind of respects each other, and it's always new content like every hour. It was pretty crazy when I first started it. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of put it together, and I ran like $2 to $5 worth of traffic to it just to get some traction. I also posted it in my in our main Facebook page, and we had gotten about 100 members within the first week. But now, I guess based on people just sharing it with their friends and virality, it's almost at 3,000 members. And
wow.
that happened within a span of about 2 to 3 months.
Very cool. So you don't even have to provide much content. Like these are just the community has pretty much taken on a life of its own.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So you mentioned earlier about the in the initial introduction email to your customers, you will talk about expected shipping time. So is that because is it mostly all print on demand in products, or do you hold any inventory yourself?
So most of the items, especially the merchandise like the mugs, the clocks, and the bags, those are all print on demand, and people are expecting 3 to 5 day shipping, especially because Amazon has spoiled everybody. So I like to give them a forecast like, hey, this T-shirt is made when you place an order, and that allows us to give you the pricing that's economical to us and very economical to you. And I also do hold some inventory for specialty products. Like I still browse AliExpress and eBay, and I found some really cool products that I add to my store, and I kind of test demand by drop shipping them for like the first week to see if I can sell like 5 to 10 units. And after that, I just buy in bulk. And also, Etsy is a great marketplace to connect with artists and people that are very crafty, and you can find some really unique items on Etsy.
I see. So you are going on Etsy to find people that are creating these awesome products, and you're sourcing from these Etsy sellers directly.
Exactly, and then I'll just talk to them. I'll just send a message like, "Hey, the scarf is really cute and it's really awesome for my audience. People are already talking about it, and I have about 5 to 10 already pre-sold. What could you do in terms of price that could be very economical for both of us? And I would like to purchase, X amount of units."
So I see like a distinct look to a lot of these products, the kind of pugs that are on there. So when you're sourcing from other manufacturers, so like on Etsy, for example, it's sourcing from other producers or sourcing from AliExpress, do you find that it's the I guess the logo or the imagery or the brand is different than what you've created with the Passion Pug? Does that have an impact on your sales or the customer's experience?
I haven't had any, really retaliation in terms of that. Nobody has really complained about the brand imagery on the site. They're just so in love with the product, and the fact that they're able to find, super unique items that resonate with their niche and resonate with what they love. They actually kind of look past that. I had a really good seller this past holiday season with the plug lamps, and they sold so much during the holiday season. And if you look at that imagery, it looks completely different from what everything else on our site, because of the print on demand items have a white background, and this one had like kind of a brick background, and it just looked completely different, but people still loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even look out for what might be a product that's sourced outside from what you've designed until you mentioned it. So I mean, it didn't jump out to me at all. So I'm assuming that these people that don't, most people are just passionate about the niche and they don't care about, is this product on brand or not. So that makes a lot of sense. Now you mentioned earlier too about how these you're sending email to get people to write these reviews. Do you have to incentivize them anyway to get them to write a review? Because whenever I get an email, for example, maybe I'm an edge case, but whenever I get an email for someone asking for a review, I don't necessarily don't want to do it, but I'll put it aside. I'll do this later or something, but I never get around to it. Do you find that there's a way to incentivize people to take the time out to give you an honest review?
So what the review in the email, it actually has a 40% discount on everything in the store if you were to leave a review. It's funny, now that you mention it, people leave the review without actually using the discount. Very few people have actually used the 40% discount even after they leave a review. So I guess it's kind of, after you leave a review, they kind of forget about it. But other than that, I haven't really had that much trouble getting reviews because people just love their product and love sharing. It's one of those social niches that people will just go and post on their Facebook page, and after that, it will just kind of do what it does on itself.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of targeting a niche that's so passionate that a lot of the customers do the marketing for you because they're just so excited to share it. And you mentioned, I think at the very beginning, Teespring was the I guess manufacturer for you to start. Are you still with Teespring? Like, did you try all the other, I guess, print on demand services? Like, what are your thoughts on all of them?
Oh, that's awesome now because most of the print-on-demand services integrate with Shopify now. So you can control the customer sequence and the customer database. As before, you didn't really have access to the customers. There were Teespring or Viral Stars customers. And right now, I'm integrated with like 3 print-on-demand companies because they offer different print-on-demand items that are just so cool to offer to your niche. Like Viral Style has wall clocks. They also have flip-flops that you can print on. And Teen Launch also has yoga mats that was really awesome because I got to put the Pugs Doing Yoga design on a yoga mat, and that was really cool, and people loved it.
That's cool. Do you find it difficult to manage all of these sources, or is it pretty easy to integrate?
With Shopify, it's the integration is very streamlined. The only issue, like I said, is that some of these manufacturers, everybody has different shipping times. So within that welcome email, I kind of mentioned that you might be receiving your items at different times because we are sourcing from different suppliers and they have different shipping times. So I'm really very transparent with the customers up front.
And you don't get any kind of backlash where people are like, I want a refund because I didn't expect it to take this long. Did you ever have any issues with that?
I did run into issues with that during the holiday, as I had forecasted that a certain product wasn't going to make as many sales as it did, and I didn't order enough. So when it got to around Christmas time, I had a handful of angry customers that were pretty upset that they weren't going to give their item in time for Christmas. But I kind of just gave them an incentive of like 40% off future products. And I also gave the option for them to get a refund and still get their item just to keep the customer happy for the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when you launched the Passionate Pug, did you have all of these products, or did you have a majority of these products already listed? Like, what did you start with? How many products did you start with?
I actually started off with like 5 products. I started off with the scarf that sold like 400 within the first month. And I started off with like 3 or 4 designs on the t-shirt. And those designs actually kind of flopped. So the scarves actually kept me afloat when I first started. And then from there, me and my designer went on a frenzy. Like I literally gave him 5 to 10 designs to do a day. And we just try to launch as many different designs as possible. And the store just kept growing.
So did you, groom that list? Because, 5 different, designs every day. There's a lot of products on here, but, definitely doesn't add up. Did you remove certain products after you determined that they weren't successful?
Yeah, so there's a lot of products I actually have hidden that are not showing on the dashboard because they were just flops. They were just taking up space, and they just did not look good with the overall brand. And I understood that based on the amount of sales that they did not deliver. So after a product is on the store for about a month or 2 and it doesn't generate, organic sales after I have launched it and advertised it, I just remove it.
That's smart. So when you work with this designer, are you working on like a per design basis? If someone wants to take the same approach as you and create, 5 to 10 different designs every day for a couple of weeks just to try everything out, it can get expensive if you're, paying them per design. What's your, tell me about your particular arrangement, but what's a typical setup for someone that wants to work with a designer?
Gotcha. So initially, I had found a few designers on Facebook, through the Facebook groups. I had just reached out and asked, if anybody can do some designs. But then what I did after that was that I actually hired the designer full time, and I paid him a salary. And he was based out of the Philippines. So I gave him a weekly salary of about, I think it was about $250. So that came out to a pretty economical price per design.
Very cool. Now, when we first started talking, you told me that you essentially launched this store a year from around this time, January 2016. So a year later, give us an idea of how successful the business is. How much has it grown to?
Oh, that's awesome. So this past year, we generated just right under 6 figures of revenue. There was a lot of struggle with that, with refunds and just trying to figure out the processes that worked. And some days, I wouldn't sell anything, but my designer was still working, so I still had to pay them. And it's been going great so far this year. Like I've actually kind of understood more about e-commerce is not just slapping products up and hoping it sells. It's actually building a loyal customer base and using a lot of your past customers as feedback and sending them surveys, asking them what they like to see for the future.
Yeah, it sounds like a huge learning year for you, but also made money along the way. So it definitely doesn't hurt. So when you think about what you want to do for this year, 2017, like what do you want to focus on? 'Cause I know you mentioned launching other niches. Like, do you want to continue expanding the catalog with a passionate pug, or where do you want to put your focus in this year?
So my kind of vision for the Passionate Pug at this point is to keep using Facebook, but also add in 2 to 3 new traffic sources. So we're starting to heavily focus on Google and also heavily focus on Pinterest. Instagram is something that I want to focus on, but because the way the influencers work, it's actually kind of very manual. So we're just looking for more hands-off approaches to advertising. So we're going to use Google and Pinterest, and also reach out to some blogs. Blogs are a very underrated traffic source that people don't really look at. They actually have a very passionate audience, and people that subscribe to blog posts and look at blogs all the time will love to see what we have to offer.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of speaking of Instagram, do you do any of your paid advertising that you set up in Facebook to target Instagram, or is it all through the influencers?
So what I've noticed is that on Instagram, when I directly try to sell on Instagram, my demographic actually, the majority buying demographic for my store actually does not hang out on Instagram. So our Instagram paid efforts using the Facebook platform has not panned out to what we like to see. It's usually a lot of younger audiences. So on Instagram, our marketing strategy for that is to have a lot of low pricing products to get people in the door. Like we try to sell a product that's like $60 on Instagram. For us personally, we've seen that it did not pan out. But if we were to sell like a mug for like $15, we will see that it pans out a lot more.
Do you find that this is the case with all the other industries and niches that you've gone after, or is this specific to the Passionate Pug?
Mostly specific to the Passionate Pug. I've noticed that not even noticed, just based on data, our audience is usually women over the age of 45 is our biggest buying audience, which would be funny because when I first started out, I thought it would be younger people, people, under the age of 30 that, found pugs funny or found, pug apparel and merchandise funny that would be wearing it. But
yeah, or people that wear t-shirts and hoodies are usually, you'd imagine, are younger too.
Exactly. So when it started turning out to be a lot older audience, I was very baffled.
Yeah, that's cool that you're able to determine that through the data, though, because so much of the time we have these preconceptions in our mind about what our customers like, but there's no better, correction than to look at the actual sales from your demographics. So thanks so much for your time, Kwaku. So thepassionatepug.com is the website, the store that we just talked about. Anywhere else you recommend listeners check out or follow along with you if they want to learn more about what you're up to, learn more about your approach to launching these kind of businesses?
You can follow me on Facebook at Kwaku Norton. That's just my Facebook profile name. And I'm also very active in a lot of the Shopify groups on Facebook and various groups. So you can reach out to me via private message on Facebook or just reach out to me through the groups.
Cool. And just so that people know how to find you, your name is spelled Kwaku. Last name's Nornoo. And again, thepassionatepug.com is the website. Again, thank you so much for your time, Kwaku.
Awesome, Felix. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Here's a sneak peek of what's in store for the next Shopify Masters episode.
You're competing for attention of people in general. So it's not that, it's a noisy world, and it's no longer just like, hey, I'm competing with my direct competitor. You're just competing to capture the attention of someone long enough to tell them what you're doing. So if it's not exciting enough, and people have a million things to do, and now they're tied to their phones and they're connecting with their friends. So it's got to be something that grabs them. So I always suggest, in terms of length of video, to keep it short and sweet, high energy, and extremely great visuals. Something that can pull them in, very quickly right from the start.
Thanks for listening to Shopify Masters, the e-commerce marketing podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs. To start your store today, visit shopify.com/masters to claim your extended 30-day free trial.